1940. As the world teetered on the brink of global war, frail Steve Rogers entered a secret laboratory and was transformed into the American super soldier. For 4 thrilling years, he battled the excess powers, until a freak stroke of fate threw him into suspended animation. When he awoke, he was a man decades out of his time. Since that fateful day, Steve Rogers has sought his destiny in this brave new world. Stan Lee presents Captain America in The Mystery of Mr. X. Brooklyn Heights, New York. The apartment of one Bernadette Rosenthal, lady friend of Steve Rogers. Bernie, this door's unlocked and wide open. You ribbed me about leaving my door unlocked. Now who's the trusting one?
It's about time you showed up with that pizza, Steve. I left the door open for you so I wouldn't miss the opening of my favorite show, just to let you in. Nothing at all tears me away from the tube when my favorite show's on.
What is it? A PBS documentary? All-Star Wrestling? You?
Yeah, me. Phi Beta Kappa, former campus political activist and Manhattan glassblower extraordinaire, who happens to love All-Star Wrestling. Now sit down, Steve, and serve that pizza, Mr. Rogers. And not another word. Marty, the ring announcer's about to appear.
Yes, ma'am. Wow. Talk about a fan favor. Bernie's really caught the bug. And on to our TV show.
We have a special guest tonight, folks. The trainer of Jumping Jack Flash and other great wrestlers, King Arthur!
Thank you, Marty. As you know, I was a great wrestler in my day. I won the championship 5 years straight. Then I had that accident in the ring. It robbed me of the use of my legs, but it didn't stop me. I took it as a sign for me to train other wrestlers, men like Jumping Jack Flash, my best student. A cry from the arena crowd blurts out.
He's good, Marty, and he's going up against the meanest wrestler in the ring, the mysterious Mr. X. Mr. X.
Despite all I've done to build up the reputation of All-Star Wrestling, there are still bad wrestlers ready to tear down my work. Mr. X leads that pack. The U.S. Olympic Committee contacted me, Marty, and asked me, King Arthur, to coach their wrestling team. It's the greatest honor I could have. But if I took that job, then the wrestlers like Mr. X would run around unchecked. Mr. X would ruin All-Star Wrestling for the fans. I couldn't let that happen, so I turned the Olympic people down flat. Then suddenly, King Arthur is attacked from behind.
King Arthur, look out! It's the mysterious Mr. X!
Shut up, Marty.
Listen to me, King Fancy Pants. That prissy whip you've been crowing about, Jumping Jack Flash. Well, I'm gonna murder him in the ring tonight. Just as easily as I threw this headlock on you. And there ain't nothing nobody can do to stop me. Stop me.
We'll be right back with that match after these messages.
You don't believe this is real, do you, Bernie?
Oh, loosen up, Steve. Of course, it's all play acting. I just... Wait. The match has started. Look at those leaps. That's Jumping Jack Flash, all right. Even though he's good, Mr. X will probably win. This feud between King Arthur and Mr. X has only started, and they'll want to milk it for all it's worth before King Arthur finally wins.
Steve Rogers sits down with pizza in hand and contemplates to himself. Yes, undoubtedly yes, they will. After all, it's a show. It's not real life. It's not like it was for me back in World War II. When I cut my fighting teeth on the battlefields as Captain America. There, it was there. Athletic ability was not enough. I had to have more. Instinct, drive, the will to take on hopeless odds without fear, without doubt. You had to hit your enemy like a bomb, be everywhere at once, keep your enemy constantly off balance, so that only you knew what was coming next. You had to play it that way, because if you didn't, you were dead. You were dead. You were dead. Maybe Bernie's right. Maybe because I constantly use gymnastics in life and death situations, I'm taking this all too seriously. At least the kids watching this program have role models in the stage good versus evil battles. Who knows, this seemingly pointless mayhem may have some value someday.
See? Mr. X just won, just like I said he would. But that last set of moves he and JJ Flash used, I've never seen anything so realistic before.
Ladies and gentlemen, our medic has confirmed it. Jumping Jack Flash is dead.
What?
Oh no! Oh no! Oh no! Oh no!
Please stand by. Our technicians are rolling back the instant replay of this tragic occurrence. In all my years, I've seen serious injuries, but this is the first time I've ever, it's so horrible, a terrible, such a tragedy. Tonight, Jumping Jack Flash was killed in the wrestling ring by the mysterious Mr. X. Here is the replay, folks, as it happened.
Uh-oh, folks. Jumping Jack Flash has held his own against Mr. X so far. But I'm afraid the curtain's about to come crashing down. Look at that high leap to the outside. Jumping Jack is just trying to keep up with Mr. X. But that's impossible. No one can keep up with Mr. X once he goes into it, the deadliest flying dropkick in wrestling history today. The Flying Four Flusher. It's a body blow so difficult, so energy draining, that Mr. X uses it only against his toughest foes. No one except Mr. X knows when or where he will strike. Because he uses all four sides of the ring to build up speed and momentum for his absolutely devastating kick. And here it comes. Look at Jumping Jack Flash fall. He's down for the count. Lots of wrestlers want that drop kick banned because there's no defense against it. Wait a minute. There's something wrong here. Jumping Jack Flash, he's not getting up. He's... Someone stop Mr. X. Don't let him get away. He may have murdered Jumping Jack Flash.
Abruptly, the TV program switches back to live action.
King Arthur, you shouldn't try to carry Jumping Jack. Your legs! Remember your legs!
A man has just died, Marty. A man who I treated like a brother. They swore, the bad wrestlers, they swore they'd do anything to stop me from making wrestling good family entertainment. But I never thought they'd stoop to murder. Mr. X has fled, but he will not escape the consequences of what he has done. It must not go unpunished. If there's any justice left in the world, we must avenge his slain and restore wrestling's reputation. Steve Rogers switches off Bernadette Rosenthal's television set.
Bernie? Steve? I really don't want to talk right now. If you don't mind, could you see yourself to the door?
Ever since that fateful day in 1941, when I took the super soldier serum, I've seen death strike many people, many times, in many ways. I feared that one day I'd get used to it. Thank God I haven't. The loss of any life still gives me pause. King Arthur is right. Justice must be done. a murdered man for wrestling for Bernie. And Captain America is the man to do it. The next day at City Police Headquarters. You can't arrest me! That damn blasted clown! He started everything! Lieutenant, someone wants to see you. He's...
Tell him to come back later, like next month.
I'm sorry, I can't wait that long.
What? An Avengers ID? Captain America! What are you doing here? Sorry to keep you waiting.
I'm here to help on the wrestling murder that was on television last night. Personal reasons.
Swell! There ain't nothing to report except this. Mr. X is gone, and my men can't seem to find him.
You've no leads?
A few, but nothing's panned out yet, though. Say, we got 10 murders a day in this town. What's so big about this one?
Countless kids saw that show on TV last night. For them, the show was a living fantasy. For them, the wrestlers are role models. If Mr. X gets away with that killing, it will only fuel the flames of cynics who would lead them all astray. Have us give away to defeatism and despair. The distinction between good and evil must never be blurred. My life has always been dedicated to that triumph of good over evil. Good over evil. You may get your chance to clinch that victory, Captain America. You're that man they called King Arthur. What do you mean? Tell me. Mr. X called me. He claims he's innocent, but he's willing to make a deal. The choice to accept it is yours, Lieutenant. He'll come out of hiding on one condition: that he's allowed to prove his innocence in the wrestling ring in a trial by honor.
What? He's out of his tree, I'll never!
Wait! Why did Mr. X contact you? It was one of your wrestlers he killed. True. But he appealed to the one thing I hold higher than vengeance or life itself. It's my honor.
Okay, now I've heard everything. Knock off the theater play, Sir Olivia Kingsley.
Lieutenant, since the day I started in All-Star Wrestling, I've established a record of impeccable honesty and fair play. My credibility extends beyond wrestling. Civic organizations, yes, even the U.S. Olympic Committee has sought my services. My word is my bond. I'll die before it is broken.
Okay. I'm impressed. Alrighty. Tell me more about this deal.
He will face any champion I select. If Mr. X wins, he goes free. If he loses, he will agree to stand trial. His last words to me: before he said he would call me back tonight for my answer were, once I'm unmasked, I'm ruined as a wrestler anyway. A strange comment, Lieutenant. A very strange comment. But agree to Mr. X's terms because I volunteered to be King Arthur's champion.
I don't know. I don't know if I like it. All right. I'll do it. But only because I can't think of anything better to do. Just one thing, Cap. You better win, or I'll see if I can make things pretty hot for you. In fact, I'm going to stack the deck even further. I'm putting plainclothes policemen in all the ringside seats and at every exit. He'll never leave free. Don't be shocked, Cap. Killers don't deserve fair trials.
Perhaps not, but you've given me all the more reason to make sure I do not fail. Do not fail. Do not fail. I'll be in touch with you, King Arthur. Thank you, Captain. Say, that's quite the handshake you got there. As is yours, King Arthur. I'm proud to have met you. Captain America and King Arthur walk off together.
I still don't see how those two hit it off so well.
Later that afternoon in Brooklyn Heights, Steve Rogers is leaving a deli with his groceries in hand. This is the second week I've not landed a single freelance art assignment. I better find something quick or rent will be... Wait! That woman! She's walking right into the path of a speeding car. Blast it! There's no time to turn into Captain America. I can't stand helpless, but when another's life is threatened, even if it jeopardizes the civilian life I've tried so hard to secure. I must rescue her as Steve Rogers. Sorry, I was a little rough on you, ma'am, but Bernie, it's Bernie.
Steve, is that really you? Oh, I feel so foolish.
And you look, well, not your best. Your hands are shaking, your steps are unsteady. No protest. I'm escorting you home, and then you're gonna tell me what is wrong. And soon, they arrive at Bernadette Rosenthal's apartment block. When something is bothering you, it sometimes helps to talk it out.
Steve, please. I can't bring myself to burden you with my petty little problems. I'll be okay, honest.
I've never seen Bernie so distraught before. Come on, Bernie. We all need help sometimes.
Not you. I can't believe anything could ever bother you, Steve. You're always so sure of yourself, so self-confident. I felt that the first day I met you. For most people, walking is just walking, and nothing more. But you stride, Steve. Shoulders back, eyes alert. It's like watching a lion about to leap into action at any time. Oh, I'm not making any sense.
You're very perceptive, Bernie, but so am I sometimes.
I know something's eating at you. It's that murder on Pro Wrestling TV, isn't it? Steve, a lot of people hang on to things that they held dear in childhood. Stuffed bear, a special blanket. Well, for me, it was All-Star Wrestling. I loved that show. Over the years, it came to mean a simple reminder of happier times of my life. But that murder, why must anything that brings joy to people always get ruined? Why? Don't answer that, Steve. Just hold me. Just hold me, please. Steve Rogers, as he caresses his friend, Bernie Rosenthal, angrily thinks it over to himself. I know nothing can bring back what you lost, Bernie, but the death of that wrestler and of so many dreams shall be avenged. I swear to it! I swear to it! I swear to it! A week later at Madison Square Gardens. Ladies and gentlemen, here to introduce the opponents in tonight's historic battle is the one and only King Arthur.
Marty, the people in the arena and out there in the home television audience deserve to know why I agreed to this match. They may scoff at me, they may curse me out, and if Mr. X wins, they may hate me forever. But I agreed to this fight because of honor. Without that code of self-discipline, a man is less than nothing. Mr. X knows that, and he knows that I value my honor above anything else, even well-justified vengeance. He appealed to my sense of fair play and honor, pleaded for his chance to prove his innocence in the wrestling ring, despite the overwhelming evidence against him. If a man asks for his chance to redeem his honor, I cannot refuse. His opponent tonight is a man bound by that iron code as well. A man who's dedicated his entire life to the ideals of our country. Captain America! In all my countless combat against the fiercest, deadliest foes of this nation and the world, I was the underdog. Tonight, the tables are turned, for I am the favorite. Yet, no one more than me knows how swiftly fate can twist certain victory into stunning defeat. Tonight, I dare not let my defenses down even for a second. Tonight, more than ever, Captain America must not fail. Where's Mr. X? He's certainly taking his time. I wonder if he's... Wait! Up there! The rope that's dropping down from the rafters! Mr. X!
Save your breath, Avenger. You're gonna need it. You're on my turf now. And Mr. X never pulls punches. Funny, I thought you'd be wise to that sneak attack. Maybe you're not as high and mighty as you're cracked up to be. I thought I might have a tough fight ahead of me, but it looks like it's gonna be a piece of cake.
He's getting ready to leap. I must time my move perfectly. The slightest error on my part, and he'll have me pinned.
Here's where the match ends.
Guess again, Mr. X. You telegraphed that move by a country mile. Look at him get up. Even so, he manages to move so amazingly fast. The man is in top physical condition. He's a serious foe to be reckoned with.
Yeah, maybe I did miss it by a country mile. Or maybe I just set you up for this, my patented leaping backbiter kick.
Out in the crowd of Madison Square Gardens, the crowd begins to rumble.
What's wrong with Cap? He should have clobbered that creep a long time ago.
Cap's just playing with Mr. X, like a cat with a mouse.
I'm not so sure. Mr. X has Cap hurting. This fight is going down to the wire.
Wait a minute. I get it now. You're not the real Captain America. You're just someone disguised as Cap. The real one would never let me touch him. Well, if King Arthur thought any wrestler could beat me, he did wrong. I'm the best in the world at what I do. And here's where I prove it. And my innocence all at once and for all.
Marty, the TV announcer, shrieks out at Captain America.
Cap, look out! Mr. X, he's going into the flying four-flusher. He's gonna kill you too!
Scared, Captain Copycat? You should be. I ain't never lost a match using this attack.
There's always a first time for everything, Mr. X. Captain America shoves his muscular shoulder into the sternum area of Mr. X as he's coming down. And for your flying four-flusher, this is it. You're good, Mr. X, but I've been playing possum with you. A trained man of action always sizes up his opposition, holding back just enough to assess the other's skill. As strong and swift as you are, your skills are still those of a performer having on a show for his fans.
I must get my breath back. Turn and attack him before he can attack me. I can't let them throw me in jail. Again. I can't.
For me, my audience was also my foe. Hitler, Zemo, the Red Skull, and Mr. That crowd plays for keeps.
Oh no!
One, two, three.
There! My duty is done! Now your fate lies in the hands of the law! Captain America strips the wrestling mask off Mr. X.
My God! That's Ray Deacon, the Midnight Slasher! Years ago, New York trembled with fear as victim after victim fell before the razor-sharp blade of a sinister nighttime stalker. One man, Ray Deacon, was caught, prosecuted, and sentenced for those brutal slayings. 5 years after his conviction, the real midnight slasher was found. Deacon was set free and immediately dropped out of sight. Now we see what's become of Mr. X. No wonder he's always kept his identity secret from everyone. But Mr. X, he became the homicidal maniac that everyone once believed him to be. Thanks to Captain America! His killing days are over!
A couple of days later, Steve Rogers is in his studio apartment. Looks like this advertising assignment I wrangled out is the answer to all my prayers. Maybe this is the big break that will finally establish my reputation in this city. Anyway, at least the rent can finally be paid. That is, if I can manage to keep my mind on my work. But I keep thinking about that fight with Mr. X and that murder bout on television. Something was different about those two fights. But what? That's just it. I don't know. But I'll never get anything done until I discover what it is about those two fights that still bothers me. Best place to start is the wrestling arena. Steve Rogers first goes over to Bernadette Rosenthal's apartment and checks on her. Bernie? No answer. But I know she is still there. I hope she'd snap out of her depression when she saw Captain America bring down Mr. X. But she still hasn't left her apartment or answered her phone in days. Steve Rogers walks outside of Bernie Rosenthal's apartment and walks into a flower shop. The longer this depression lasts, the worse it's going to get.
Would you like a card with that, sir?
Yes, and deliver the rose. Bernie. Steve Rogers leaves the flower shop after making his purchase and stands at a city bus stop waiting for a ride. King Arthur might not let just anyone into their wrestling video library, but a freelance artist needing references, it just might work. But assuming I get into this library, what do I look for? And after a long bus ride, Steve Rogers finds himself at King Arthur's office. Welcome, Mr. Rogers. My secretary says that you need some models for an article you are illustrating. Yes, it's about physical fitness in the athletic profession. I was hoping I could use your research library, sir. You'd be more than welcome to it, if it existed. You mean you don't have one? I'm sorry to disappoint you, But unlike the major professional sports that can afford to maintain the video library and files you are thinking of, pro wrestling cannot. We're a struggling sport trying to overcome a bad reputation. We're more entertainment than organized athletics.
I see.
Again, I'm sorry, but so long as you're here, feel free to make sketches of our wrestlers in training. And once outside King Arthur's office, Steve Rogers runs into Marty, the television ringside announcer.
Say, you're Marty, the ringside announcer, aren't you?
Why, yes. Why?
I'm an artist looking for wrestlers to draw. Who would you say would be the best subjects?
Any of King Arthur's men. They're in the best shape and they've got the best style. You should see their leaps. Best in the business. In fact, it's their trademark.
It is?
Here's our videotape library. It has video recordings of all our matches and practices. But the person you really should see is King Arthur.
Don't worry, I will.
Steve Rogers thinks to himself, and only to himself.
After I found what I wanted in this supposedly non-existent video library. Why would King Arthur mislead me about this library? Could he have been thinking of something else? Or was he trying to hide something? I can't believe that King Arthur would deliberately deceive me. The man is honest. Still, I have this nagging doubt. I better get on with the real reason for my visit. Watching the two tapes of the two matches. Maybe by comparing them, seeing one right after the other, I'll discover the clue I need. There's Mr. X of the night of the murder. That leap he just made is spectacular. Even Captain America would be hard-pressed to match that.
A few minutes later,
there I am. But something is different about Mr. X in this fight. He seems slower, and that leap doesn't look quite the same. Is it my imagination or...
the comparison is repeated again and again until the conclusion.
It's almost too incredible to believe, but I'm sure of it. The man who killed Jumping Jack Flash is not the man Captain America fought. I'm taking this tape to King Arthur. Let him see it for himself. He could verify my suspicions and tell by the wrestler's style who the killer is. Then Ray Deacon, the real Mr. X, can go free. But who could the killer be then? And why would he disguise himself as Mr. X? King Arthur, I wanna...
Looks like we got ourselves an uninvited guest here, Arthur.
What are you talking about? What are these boxes on your desk?
Fool! That's the so-called artist I warned you about. That's why I told you to postpone our delivery until now, when he should have been gone. He may be an artist, but I've trained too many wrestlers not to spot a true fighting man when I see one. Hold him tight. Don't let him get away. Don't let him have a chance to break free. Rogers, you've already seen too much for me to allow you to leave here alive. So I might as well tell you what you're already beginning to suspect. Those boxes contain experimental, unstable, and illegal anabolic steroids. Jumping Jack Flash found out I had been secretly feeding them to all my wrestlers. He was going to blow the whistle on my operation. So, I killed him.
Wait! You're not crippled! Where's your cane? Then it was you! It was you! You disguised yourself as Mr. X and killed Jumping Jack Flash in the ring! But how?
I slipped Mr. X a sleep aid before the fight. While he was asleep, I was in the fight. King Arthur wraps a coat hanger around Steve Rogers and is now throwing him into a furnace duct. Those steroids gave me the full use of my legs and made me virtually superhuman. So long, Rogers. I'm ordering you to take the fall in this fight. All the way down the incinerator.
I must act fast. The price for any mistake will be my life. The incinerator below it's a blast furnace. Only seconds remain before I reach the flames. Must push out against the brass tubing with every ounce of my strength. I only pray I bend it back and jam the ends into the heating ducts before it's too late. There, I did it. But there's no time to rest. There's an innocent man to set free and a score to settle with King Arthur.
Meanwhile, in the arena above.
Look, Arthur, I don't like the way that artist guy stumbled into our operation. I'm stopping deliveries until I'm sure there ain't no cop activity.
No, the delivery shall continue. My reputation as coach and trainer demands my wrestlers must not be denied of their steroids for any reason. If anyone else interferes, as did Jumping Jack, Flash, and Mr. Rogers, he shall die. When suddenly, that's a pretty unchivalrous attitude, King Arthur.
King Captain America, stop him! Kill him!
I'm sure they would try if they were still conscious.
Once I get my hands on you, you're dead!
I've heard a lot of threats in my time, friend.
and I know I'm going to hear many more.
Spare me the speeches, Captain America. The fight's over. Because I'm handing over King Arthur to ya in return for my freedom.
You dare? No one double-crosses me with impunity. The price for such treachery is death. You butchering animal! I've never witnessed such dark, heartless deceit and savagery! You callously, willingly betrayed the noble ideals you publicly endorse! Those ideals were for weaklings! Not true! You are a fool! Adopting a concept that has no meaning in this sick, decadent society! I am the forger of a new ideal for the strong. All action is acceptable. Might makes right. As those steroids renewed me, so shall they make my chosen few invincible. My ideals shall replace the old, world-weary standards as easily as I defeat and kill you, Captain America! I am bored with this game! I shall finish you now! Sorry to disappoint you, Crumb, but I'm not ready to cash in my chips just yet! Impossible! No one could leap away from me that fast! I'm too fast! Maybe you were in the wrestling ring in front of the TV cameras, but this is no show! This is the real thing! How's this for a show? King Arthur headbutts Captain America a number of times. I'm groggy from that pain, but I can't stop fighting. I must. You are a worthy opponent, fitting tests for the proof of my beliefs. Your defeat and your death should promote my cause. King Arthur now has Captain America in a full Nelson. Before you die, I want to hear you renounce your ideals of honor. Admit my words are true. Admit it. Never. Captain America flips over King Arthur hard onto his back. You'll still fall at my feet. No one has ever defeated King Arthur. No one ever will. Then I guess there's nothing I can say except, King Arthur, here's where you get crowned. Captain America backflips King Arthur into a wall. He's getting up. His stamina is incredible. But he's dazed and confused. Must use my shield to goad him into charging like a bull. So much for your new ideals. You just fell for one of my oldest tricks in the book. You may may have won this fight, but Ray Deacon will rot in prison, because I'm not telling anyone that it was I who killed Jumping Jack Flash.
You won't have to, King Arthur. I will. Marty, the TV ringside announcer. I heard everything. You had the wrestling world in the palm of your hand, but you had to have more. It drove you to betray everything you once held dear. Honor, pro wrestling, and the fans.
And thus later, at the city jail.
I'll never be able to repay you, Cap. You know that.
Forget it, son. My reward is seeing an innocent man go free.
But free to do what? Who'll take a chance on a man twice accused of murder?
Don't forget, that man was also twice freed. This may be an imperfect country, Ray, but we own up to our mistakes. I think you'll find more chances for you now than you ever dreamed. All you have to do is make the right choices, and I know you will.
And at that moment, in Brooklyn Heights, at Bernadette Rosenthal's apartment.
Delivery from Lucky Florists, ma'am. No answer. The guy said she'd be home. Oh well, I'll leave the rose here.
Hours later, Bernie Rosenthal finally opens up her door to find a rose in a vase with a card in an envelope awaiting for only her.
Who?
The words are simple. The message is brief. The words bring tears to her eyes. Not of sorrow, but of joy. Though death can never be denied, neither can life. Especially when there are those who care. The end.